Hello, I think I'm live. Let's see. Well, you are in class today. It is Teaching Tuesday here on 15minute.fitness, and we're going to do another installment of the Training 101 series. Training 101, so all about exercise, okay? Today we're going to study progression. I've been having some questions in the group about where do I go from here. I've started with these workouts, with this sample beginner workout. What do I do now? Do I just continue to do it over and over and over forever? Well, good question, and it needs to be answered. So look, let's just dive right in. The name of the game in building muscle is progressive overload. Right? Progressive overload is the number one principle that is going to drive muscle growth. What does that mean? It simply means doing more and more and more and more and more. Okay? So some sort of progression. What does that look like? My goodness. Well, there are many different ways that we can add progression. Let's look at some of our possibilities. So we'll look right here on our sample beginner workout, for instance, and we'll kind of brainstorm. So in your sample beginner workout on push day, we had two exercises, push-ups and a dumbbell press, some sort of standing dumbbell press, a vertical press. All right, we prescribed 3 sets of each for, let's say, 12 reps, and we're using a certain weight. So with push-ups, we're using body weight. With dumbbell press, we're using 20 pounds, whatever you're using. Okay? So, okay, what can we do? What can we possibly do? Oh, and we're doing it we're doing all the 3 workouts, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Okay? 1 each day. Anyway, again, let's look at how we can add to this. Just some possible ways. Well, you could always add weight to the bar. Okay? So you're doing 20 pounds this week. You did 20 pounds for a couple weeks. Next week, you could try 22 and a half or 25. The following week, you could try to bump it up a little bit more, progressively adding more and more and more weight. All right? That is a sort of progression by load. Okay? I've got a number of terms over here. These are technical terms that the sports scientists use to define means of progression. Volume load, frequency, duration, density, load, effort, intensity. We're not going to deal with all the jargon. I'll show you kind of where these practical things fit in, but we're going to be very practical here. What can we do? So one of the things we can do is add weight to the bar every week, week after week after week. And we will progressively get stronger. Okay? That's one possibility. Well, what else could we do to add more, to progressively overload this? Well, I could add more reps. I could keep the weight the same, 20 pounds, but next time I come out here, I'm going to get 13 reps. And the next time I come out, I'm going to get 14. And maybe in a couple weeks, I can get 15 and 16. And 17, and to continue to progress in that way. So you can always add reps. That is a legitimate means of progression. That would ultimately affect volume, but again, we'll save the technical terms and give you some practical takeaways. But anyway, that's something we could do, right? So there's a couple different ways we could progress this. We could add weight to the bar. We could come out and do more reps. Well, we could also progress it by sets. We could add sets. Right? So I'm doing 3 sets of dumbbell press this week. Well, maybe in a couple weeks, I add 1 to it, and I'm doing 4. And then maybe after a couple weeks of that, I add another 1 to it, and I'm doing 5. Or add 1 to the other exercise, so that I'm doing 4 and 4. So again, that's another means of progression, progressing sets. That's predominantly, again, going to affect volume. But that is a legitimate means of progression. Okay, so anything that you do to add more work is a sort of progression. What else could you do? Well, you told me to give 90% effort. Schwartz, he said, when you're doing your sets of rows or whatever, work until you've got about one left in the tank and then leave it alone. Well, that's called effort, how much effort you're putting in. So let's say you're giving it a 9 out of a scale of 10. Well, a way of progression is doing more effort. Okay? So let's say you started at an 8 out of 10. You do your sets until you had, 2 or 3 left. But then you put it down. Well, the next week, in a couple weeks, you could ramp it up to 90% effort, a 9 out of 10. Come out there and do your set until you only had 1 left, and then put it down. And then if you got crazy on the final week of whatever kind of progression you're on, you could give 100% effort. Go until actual muscular failure, where your muscles actually cannot do another one. It's not just your mind saying, I don't think I can. It's your muscles saying, I just dropped it. That is a means of progression. It's kind of dangerous. I don't advocate it. But that is a means of progression, a legitimate means of progression. So anyway, in a nutshell, progression is simply doing more. So, you don't have to progress every workout, but week in and week out, over time, you should aim to do more. So what would I suggest? Let me give you a takeaway. You don't need to know that there's 10 different means of progression. What you probably want to know is which one makes the most sense for me. Well, I'll give you a couple of options. The one that I would advocate for you is frequency. Okay? So right now you're working out, let's say 3 days a week. Well, here in a week or two, when your body acclimates to that and adjusts to that, try adding another one. I'm sorry, I'm sweating all over the place. My little shop office is not as comfy as my workspace. But anyway, I'll be back there tomorrow. Instead of doing it 3 times a week, you could aim for 4 times a week. Then, after a couple of weeks, when your body adjusts to that, you could try 5 times. Again, after a couple of weeks, when your body adjusts to that, you could try 6 times. I like frequency because for a couple of reasons. Number one, it automatically drives up volume. Volume is just a fancy word for how much total work is done. Okay, sets times weight times reps. It's actually volume load. But that's the scientific literature is coalescing around the idea that volume is the primary driver of hypertrophy, muscle building. Now these other ones definitely play in, but volume right now is the most popular the popular contender for the most important driver of muscular growth. So this automatically drives up volume. What else does it do? It also makes working out a habit. When you do something every day, over and over and over again, it becomes habitual, right? It becomes ingrained into your lifestyle. You become the type of person who does this type of thing. And for instance, me. Over time, I have made working out a habit. If I wake up, I know it's a workout day. I know that I'm going to find 15 minutes somewhere in that day to get my workout in. And it has served me well. Okay? And I would really, really advocate you trying to make working out a habit in your life. It's 15 minutes, people. 15 minutes. You can find that somewhere in your day. Now, if it becomes a habit, a routine, then you know to expect it. You program it into your day. And you don't have to worry about, well, is it Monday, is it Wednesday, is it Thursday, is it a workout day or not? If I wake up, it's a workout day. Anyway, so that would be my primary advice, is to go by frequency. What else? After you are up to 6 times frequency, then we might start looking at progressing our effort, adding reps, adding weight. I mean, when you get the opportunity to do that, do it. But I would strongly suggest that you choose one means of progression at a time. Whether that is frequency, or whether that's adding reps to the sets, or whether that's adding weight to the bar. Choose one and work with it for an amount of time. Why? Because look, all of these are tools in our toolbox. Every one of these are tools that we can use to spur muscle growth. Okay? Now, whatever tool you use, you're going to level off at a certain time. Your body's going to adjust to it, and you're going to have to do more. Well, what if you already have all your tools out on the table? You already have all your cards out on the table. What do you have left? Where are you going to go from there? How are you going to add more? You can't. Don't play all your cards at once. Keep all those cards up your sleeve and just pull out one at a time. Just use one at a time. Okay? So, if you have the ability to fit it into your life 4 times next week, and then 5 times in a couple weeks after that, and then 6 times, and make it a habitual part of your life, do that. If you simply cannot afford any other workout days, then start adding reps. Okay? If you got 10 reps on a certain exercise this week, make sure you get 11 next week. Push yourself. Or 12. Or 13. Okay? That's if you can't find the time to exercise more frequently. I don't want you to hurt yourself. So I really don't want you to concentrate on adding weight over and over and over every week. We will get to that point. We will get to the point where we add weight. But first, you guys, let's keep safety first. Let's do the things that actually matter. Let's do the things that are going to help us the most. And then we'll pull out our other cards as necessary. So first piece of advice, frequency. Progressive overload, name of the game. You got to do more to get more. Hey, I love you. And I appreciate you being here. I really do. Thanks for bearing with me. I know I got long-winded and everything, but it's Teaching Tuesday, and this is what I do. God bless you. I will see you in the next video. If I can figure out how to turn this off.